It's Finland against Great Britain. Here's Andy Carter from Great Britain. His stats, 31, racing driver. And he's against the man in the opposing lane with that crash helmet painted like a bun. Tommy Happinen, the newly married man, now married to Anita Michaela, of course herself is no stranger to winning at the top level of drag racing. They're away together. In fact, Carter was away first, but then it's an engine explosion for Carter. Happinen runs through 5:24. Mr. Consistent, as always. There's his wife, looking very, very happy indeed. It was a good start by Andy Carter. He made up 3/10 on that start line, but the car let him down. Tommy Happinen, all the way through, takes the win. Well, here's the race that everybody has been looking forward to. If anybody, if anyone at all can run a 4-second run in Europe, it's got to be one of these two. Vivica Avestedt from Sweden, Rico Antes from Germany, the man who not only races but puts on a big racing event at Hockenheim every year, and Vivica Avestedt, the lady who has moved to Great Britain, lives just down the road from the track to get him more track time to run that first 4-second pass. Well, a year ago at this event, Vivica beat Rico in the final. What's going to happen here as they move into stage? 10,000 horsepower together. It's Rico Antes who gets away first. And problems for Vivica. Look at that time, 5:01, the quickest we've ever seen here at Santopon. A 49 reaction time to Rico Antes. And it's all over for Vivica, but my goodness me, that was a stunning run. This is how it sets up for the final. Rico Antes against Tommy Happinen. Well, Lane is certainly riding on a high at the moment. He won a race meeting involving all of these cars a couple of weekends ago and must be coming into this final feeling supremely confident. So, is Jari Connolly in the Dodge Avenger, the Firebird of Tommy Lane. And these two have previously run right down into the teens with these cars, and they're away together. Almost identical reaction times. It is identical, a 46 and a 46, and it's Connolly who takes it. How about that for close racing?
It looks like the best thing we ever did this weekend.
Not often you see Susie smile, but a big smile there. Lane had it in the bag, he thought. Identical reaction times. Look at that, a 4:62 to Connolly, a 4:65 to Lane. How close is that? And then at the finish line, 100th of a second between them. That's all it takes. Connolly gets maximum points. So here we are. Connolly leads the chase now. Lane in second spot. Muren, Hauge and Malmgren make up the field. I happen to know that both cars have been suffering a little bit coming through into this final. Peter Beck, well, he's had some clutch problems, and they've had to put in a new clutch before this run. And Peter Schofer has been suffering distorted cylinder heads. And he and his team, with this particular machine, are hoping that it's all going to hold together through the final run. Hey, that's not a good thing to go into a final where you know that you're up against such a hard adversary like Peter Beck. So both of them, I should imagine, are coming up to this start line now with their fingers crossed. So who is going to take maximum points from this first Top Alcohol FIA round here at the track? And they're away together. A better start line reaction from Peter Beck. Peter Schofer just does not get a look in. What do the crew think?
Well done, are you happy?
Yes, very happy.
Well, there you are, 2 in a row.
Happy?
Yes, yeah.
Is it your fastest ever?
No, we had the 590 last year, but it's great to have.
So now the championship?
Yeah.
Peter Beck's wife, Regular, just saying that he is on the charge for the championship this year, certainly also leading the British Top Alcohol Championship. But in the FIA Championship, this is how it looks: Beck, Schofer and Kagerad. Russ, if we turn the clock back 2 years, these two face themselves in the final of this event in 1995. And that time around, it was Happinen who came out on top, the man from Finland. But this year, he's meeting Rico Antes, and Antes is on a charge. Let me tell you, it has not been an easy race meeting for Rico Antes. He had a big engine explosion, he's had a steering collapse, all manner of things that go wrong for him, but now it looks as though there's a problem for Hamilton. Indeed, there's a fuel leak. He's been shut down. It's Rico on his own. And another storming run. 5:05. The crew were looking for a 4. Hamilton jumps out. How does he feel?
Unhappy? Well, we ran last run our record. It's okay. Okay.
But a very, very happy German crew receiving the plaudits of the big crowd here. And just look at this. Not a foot wrong for Rico Antes. Not one cylinder going down. A storming 286 miles per hour run. Wow. At the end of all of that, Rico is leading the championship. Tommy Happinen is in second spot, then Sweden's Vivica Averstedt. In fourth spot, Great Britain's Andy Carter.
Well, congratulations there to the winners in England. Let's leave the final words to Rico Antes.
First, I didn't realize that that Tommy was broke, so I was waiting on him to stage and concentrated on the run. Then when I had the final, I was just concentrating on the number. But I felt it going pretty good out of this start line. 60 foot probably is also a pretty good time. But then again, after 1,000 foot, I felt it not pulling through. So I said, well, it's not going to be the one. But well, what can you do?
Stay with the action. Join us after the break.
Über den Wolken wird hart Weltmeistertitel und Medaillen gekämpft. 17 Sportarten unter einem Himmelszelt und einem organisatorischen Dach, dem der ersten World Air Games. Von Aerobatics über Hanggliding und Skydiving zum Segelfliegen, wenn die World Air Games sind.
2 from Alastaro in Finland, and we join it in the semi-finals.
The semi-finals here in Alastaro, and Michael Malmgren finds himself up against the Finnish driver Tammy Brander. Now Brander had put away the current championship leader in the first round, so he was really on a high against Malmgren, but Malmgren was the #1 qualifier, but it's Brander who gets away first. He has the whole shot on Malmgren and takes it at the top end. That's a marvellous run from Tammy Brander, 7.26 to a 7.36, and he was out in front of Michael Malmgren the whole way. Well, Malmgren was the #1 qualifier and gets put away by the man who was the #4 qualifier here in Finland. So that's an upset straight away. Well, here's Jan Muren. Now then, Jan is doing well this weekend because he meets last year's champion, Tommy Lane, in this semi-final round. He's already put away Kjetil Haug from Norway and is feeling quietly confident. But is he good enough to put out of contention last year's champ? And this is really, really close as they head towards the top end. Who's it going to be on the finish line? Jan Muren takes it. Well, that was so very, very close all the way through. These start line reactions, a 0.47 to Tommy Lane, a 0.43 to Jan Muren, and so very, very close all the way through. Finishing times, 7.17 to Lane and 7.21 to Muren. It was 1 on the start line. So this is how our final looks. Tammy Brander from Finland in his 1991 Cutlass meets the 92 Firebird of Jan Muren for the points. And staying in Finland, we move across to top alcohol. And this is how the championship looks at the moment. From Switzerland, Peter Beck is in the lead. And he is also, this weekend, our #1 qualifier, running down into the 5s yet again. 5.97. Can anybody stop this man? Well, he's up against, in the semi-finals here, Mickey Fulstedt from Sweden. And Fulstedt was our #5 qualifier, running in the 6.2s. Well, he's up against Mr. Reliable here, Peter Beck, and gets away first, but then suddenly Beck gets tire shake. He's all over the track. It's Mickey Fulstedt, takes out the championship leader. And away from the start line, a better start line reaction, a 45 to a 47, and then it's all over for Peter Beck. Mr. Reliable is maybe Mr. Reliable no more. That might hurt his championship chances. Well, in the second half of the semi-finals, coming up the other side of the ladder, Leif Helander from Sweden should have been racing this man, Jarmo Roivas from Finland. But Helander didn't show. Roivas then on a bye run records a 5.95 and meets Michael Fulstad in the final. Well, it's Tommi Happinen, the man from Finland. He's on his home track here at Alastaro. Alastaro is the only purpose-built drag strip in Europe. And he meets in the first round the man who got no points from Sandipod at all, Great Britain's Barry Sheevels. Now, Tommi Happinen is a young man. He's been around the sport 3 or 4 years now, and he's gradually getting quicker and quicker. He's always been a man who has been consistent in his low 5-second runs. Barry, although we've seen Barry racing so well in top alcohol, has got to be classed as a new boy in this form of sport. But Barry gets away first. Absolutely storming run from Barry Sheevels. In fact, spinning the tyres at the top end, and he takes out local boy Tommi Happinen with a 0.49 to a 0.56 reaction time, and then a storming 5.23 to a 5.49. Great race, great race. Barry Sheevels is in the final, and he's going to meet one of these two, the quickest lady in Europe, that's Vivica Avested, or this man, Germany's Rico Antes, currently leading the championship and the quickest dragster driver in Europe. This is going to be close. Let's have a look at the start line, and it's a red light. Rico red lights away. The nerves must have got to be reacting with a 0.39. That is too quick. Let's watch this again. And Rico goes so far out of shape, that 300-inch long dragster pointing across the track. Vivica, she runs through. A reaction time of 0.64, a 5.31. That's a good run for her. Sets up our final. Vivica against Barry Sheevels. Barry Sheevels will have lane choice. Well, we're straight into the final of Pro Stocks. These cars that run 500 cubic inches as a maximum, they are an out-and-out race car. They're known as the factory hot rods. They represent cars that you can see on the streets, of course, mainly in America. And this is Jan Muren. Jan Muren meets Tammy Brander. Brander from Finland, Muren, and it's a red light. Tammy Brander goes before the green comes on, a 39 reaction time. He went too quick by 0.02 of a second, automatically hands the win to Jan Muren. You can see it so clearly there, the nerves getting to Tammy Brander. So Jan Muren picking up maximum points from this round here in Alastaro. So here are the points after round 2 here in Finland. Jan Muren now moves to the #1 position. Jari Konala slides down to the #3 spot. Well, the final of top alcohol puts Finland in the form of Jarmo Roivas against the funny car of Mickey Fulstad, and really Fulstad has the hill to climb here. Roivas was the #2 qualifier at this meeting, Fulstad the #5, so it's got to be Fulstad looking for a good getaway, but he doesn't get it. Roivas gets away first, a 43 to a 49 reaction time, and stays out in front despite Mickey Fulstad putting in the quickest miles per hour of the whole meeting. He just could not catch Jarmo Roivas. So 2 new names in the championship, and Roivas collects maximum points from his home track, Alastaro, Finland. And here is the leaderboard, still out there in front from Switzerland, Peter Beck, but look, Jarmo Roivas has crept up into that #4 spot. Well, on paper, the experience says that Vivica Avested should take this race. She's a seasoned campaigner in Top Fuel. But you've got to remember that Barry's come along here with absolutely no points whatsoever. He's making a mark for himself in the ranks of Top Fuel, must already be feeling confident because, of course, in his first major outing, he's actually made the final. So here we are. Remember, these cars can accelerate up to 100 miles an hour in under 60 feet. And is Sheevels away first? He reacts with a 48 to a 57 for Vivica. Great run for Barry Sheevels. That engine powering away beautifully. And if we watch it again, you can see the exhaust fumes on Vivica's car shutting down. She's out of the race. Barry is through, takes the win, 5.25. Wow. Yes, indeed. Big, big congratulations from Vivica. So this is how it looks at the end of Finland. Rico is still top. Vivica moves up into second spot, Tommy Habernan in third, but Barry Sheevels from Great Britain is now in fourth spot.
Well done to Britain's Barry Sheevels. Now round 3 is at Mantorp Park in Sweden.
Well, it's breathtaking action all the way here at Mantorp Park as we move into our first semi-final. It's an all-Swedish affair, and the crowd really don't know who to cheer for here. Who's going to be their favourite? They're both Swedish drivers of repute. Michael Malmgren in the Oldsmobile Cutlass. In the Pontiac Firebird, it's Jan Muren. Now, Muren knows he's got to cut a good line away from the start line here. Malmgren was the #1 qualifier, and there was some 1/10 of a second between them, and that means an awful lot in pro stock races. This is the nail-biting moment. Up to the start line, and this is where it all counts. Start line reactions. Muren pulls a red. He goes before the green comes on. The race is automatically Malmgren's.
We won, but unfortunately at the red line, but we had a good time, good speed, 193 miles per hour, that's great.
Well, it was a .39 reaction time for Jan Muren. He knew he had to get away quickly, but a good run, a 7.25, as the man just said, for Michael Malmgren. He's looking good for the final. But who is he going to meet in the final? One of these two. From Finland, Tammy Brander, or from Finland, Tommy Lane. Well, Tommy Lane was our #2 qualifier. It would seem right that he should be meeting the #1 qualifier in the final. But Tammy Brander's going to have something to say about that. He was our #3 man here in qualifying at Mantorp Park. There was hardly anything to choose between the top 3 in qualifying, so this could be anybody's race. This, again, could be won and lost on the start line. These guys are just running so very, very close on their times. So it's an all-finish affair as they come up to the start line. Pontiac against Oldsmobile, and just sit back and enjoy the tension these two drivers are not enjoying on the start line. Easing it in to the staging feed, and almost identical reaction times. A 1-3 for Tommy Lane, a 1-2 for Tammy Brander, but it's Tommy Lane who takes the win.
What do you think?
I think that cars run very good, and final we win.
Well, words of wisdom from Tommy Lane's crew chief there. Away from the start line, it was a better reaction time for Tammy Brander, a 52 to a 53. But by the time they reached the halfway mark, already Tommy Lane was in front, and he carried that right the way through to the finish line, recording a 7.23 to a losing 7.32. So this sets up our final then from Finland. Tommy Lane, currently second in the championship, against Michael Malmgren, hungry for points. A number of times we've seen these two racing. The funny car, the Dragster. Michael Kagarad in that Ford Mustang. He's currently sitting some 66 points behind. He's in second spot. This man, Peter Beck, is currently the #1 man, 196 points. He is in the lead of the championship, being guided back by Regular there behind the start line. That's the lady who does all his talking for him. He does all his talking with his driving out on the track. Now then, he's been having problems. Finland and Sweden have not been kind to this man, and Michael Kagrad is going to try and take advantage of that as they come up to the start line. Excellent start line reactions for the pair of them, but it's Peter Beck who takes the win.
How are you feeling?
Good, real good. It was a nice run. We were very excited to race against Mickey Carteret.
Well, indeed, Regular very, very happy there. A .42 reaction for Peter, a .43 reaction for Michael Kagrad. It's as close as that, but then the run 6.02 for Peter Beck to a 6.94 lose out for Michael Kagrad. Beck is in the final, and he meets one of these two. This is Kari Eskelinen with the Dragster. Now, we haven't seen him so far. He got through into the semi-final on a bye run, and he's up against Michael Fausted with the funny car. And certainly the crew with the funny car are taking a long time to put that body down. I don't know whether Michael Fausted has got some problems there. Certainly we haven't seen him yet venture out onto the track. Here he comes. And going very, very slowly, not going for a burnout. Now, the rules state that if you want to collect your points from a semi-final round, you have to come up to the start line under your own power. This could well be what Michael Fausted is doing, running alongside his country mate. That's Kari Eskelinen. Eskelinen just fires through, takes the win.
We are in the finals this first time this year, and I think we improved our performance race to race.
And the final, do you think you can win?
Pardon?
Do you think you
can win? If we have luck, of course, yes.
Well, will he have luck on his side? Certainly he's going to need it. He's up against the championship leader. So this is how the final looks. Beck against Eskelinen, Switzerland against Finland.
Make sure you join us for top fuel action after the break.
NASCAR. Sie sehen aus wie Autos von der Stange. Ihre 700 PS V8-Motoren machen sie aber zu röhrenden Speedboliden. Und bei den Tagen des Donners führt der Sieg nur über Superstar Jeff Gordon. NASCAR live aus Dover, Delaware. Sonntag ab 19:15 Uhr mitteleuropäischer Zeit. Live bei Eurosport. Mit Hyundai, wo die Realität die Erwartungen übertrifft.
Welcome back to Manthorpe Park Raceway. Now, before we go on to the semis of Top Fuel, let's talk to drag racing promoter Keith Bartlett to find out more about the FIA Championship.
Well, in 1997, things have really taken off. The FIA Professional European Drag Racing Championship has really come of age. We've now developed it with a lot more media coverage. It's got a lot of interest from corporate sponsors that have looked at the sport but now taken it seriously, and probably most importantly, the spectators are seeing real hard competitive racing in all the three professional classes. So it's taken that next step forward to join perhaps 4 or 5 other major FIA disciplines that run championships throughout Europe.
Well, there you go, words of wisdom from the man in charge of racing in the UK as we look at our first semi-finals with the burnout. That's Finland's Tommi Happinen, and coming out in the opposing lane in the yellow dragster, that's Kent Persson from Sweden. Everyone here is up on their feet watching this one. Well, they know that Kent Persson, first time in a dragster in 1997. He's had occasional rides over the past few years, and once again, he's up against this young man who is in the hot seat so very, very often. So can he do it? Can he pull one off for Sweden? It will be something to do it in front of your home crowd. He knows he's got to get a good start line reaction away from those staging beams, and he's up against a man who can pull a good start line reaction himself as they come into pre-stage. Roll forward another 7 inches. They're fully into stage. The lights burn down, they're away, and it's a better start line reaction for Kent Persson, but then a huge engine explosion for Tommi Happinen.
What do you think? I'm pleased. We made a good run there. We hope to run a little bit better number, but staying consistency is going to make us hot in the finals. I'm very happy. Kent did a great job.
Peter Lantz also builds the cars used to drive, and that's his car that Kent Persson is sitting in now. Just watch this. He got away first from the start line, but then that big, big explosion for Tommi Happinen, and that's going to play havoc with the rest of the racing here today. That's the result of a nitromethane explosion. It's taken the whole side of the engine out. Now, while Rico is sitting here pensively waiting, let me just tell you that besides taking the side of the engine out, that engine has oiled the whole lane down, and that's the lane that Barry Sheeples is due to run in. Now, Barry has got lane choice, and it's quite possible that he's doing exactly what I thought. He's putting Rico Antes into the lane where the oil has been.
Barry, Tommy's laid some oil down. You were supposed to run in that lane. You just moved to the right. Why?
Well, we had lane choice, and obviously you never know with an oil down whether the track's going to be in as good condition as it was before, so we took the decision to swap lanes.
Any psychology involved here?
Yes.
You left it a bit late?
Yes.